It's the brother Kadash, back with another one. Start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, the Most High God. So this is a demon-possessed testimony. And, like every day I just, I watch podcasts and stuff. I like to hear what other people believe, different walks, just to continue on my journey of finding the truth, the absolute truth. You see what I'm saying? This is called The Alien Deception, how they will, explain away the rapture, featuring Billy Crone. So Billy Crone is going to give a testimony about the demons. He's giving a testimony about his life when he was wicked, kind of like Paul, and then he became righteous, is what he would say. I disagree with a lot of things that he's saying and what he believes in, but I also agree with a lot of things he's saying. So, I like to say, in all darkness there's light, and there's truth there. You see what I'm saying? There, you can always find the truth. So that's why it's going to come down to the Lord to come back and choose who he wants to be his elect, because every single one of us got darkness in us and every single one of us got light in us, and it's just going to depend on what the Lord says, But the last video, speaking about the book of demonology that was written by King James, it kind of sparked my interest about the demons and witchcraft and the dark magic side, so I started watching more podcasts about that. And I was watching this podcast, and it's funny because it was random. I came to this podcast to watch his testimony about the alien deception. Then he got to talking about demons. And it seems like most of the stuff he's finna say matches up with exactly what King James was explaining. So that's why I'm doing this video, to show you that, the things that King James was explaining in the book of demonology is not false. These things are true. And watch how this guy, which is a Christian guy, pretty much confirms all those things that King James was saying about demons, how they come on to you, how they possess you, what they want, how they sign contracts with Satan, right? He's finna pretty much affirm everything that King James was saying just with his own personal testimony. And he's not even speaking about the book Demonology by King James. So listen up.
But what they'll be told is it was from the aliens. The Bible calls it the rapture. We'll be abducted, snatched quickly away by the Lord Jesus Christ, the church, and then the wrath of God comes down, the 7-year tribulation. But they're not going to hear that. They're going to hear it was aliens. In order to fall for the lie of UFOs and aliens, you have to first fall for the lie of evolution. So Satan is so sneaky and tricky, he had to start this thing that it was the aliens, not the rapture. He had to start this 150 years ago and first get the planet to buy into the lie of evolution. And then sure enough, in the 60s and 50s, and the black and white movies, and here comes alien this, alien that. Now today, UFOlogy is the new religion for the 21st century. More people believe that aliens have visited planet Earth than that Jesus is the Son of God.
So
I'm not going to say anything else because I really want to start talking.
So this is her podcast. So just in that little clip starting off, which I'm going to get into more, I want to say that I agree with like 80% of the things he's saying. He's right. They are trying to make it be like an alien deception, because the elites of the world, which have signed deals, contracts with Satan, just like King James was explaining, they want to deceive the world for when the Lord returns and the Lord call up into heaven, he comes and save his elect. They are going to tell you 100% that it's aliens, demons that's coming to I guess like rapture, like not rapture, but abduct people for like breeding and food to eat them, and demons that's coming to torment people. So that's the deception. The alien guys that's coming out here saying, so it's let me break this down the best way I can. it's a couple different things that's happening. You got alien guys coming out here, and they're telling you that when it's in reverse, they telling you when the UFOs come back that it's not God, and that it's actually aliens and demons that's working with the government, reptilians, right, that's working with the government, that's coming down to take over Earth and have a one world order or one world government on Earth. Those guys are the agents. They're like double agents. They're working, they're acting like they're working for the people on the people side, and they're exposing and whistleblowing information on aliens and trying to warn people. The truth is that they're actually the agents that's working to put out that misinformation, because the truth is, so in the Bible, when the Lord comes back and he saves his elect and he calls his elect up into the heavens, the Bible doesn't say anything about any other force doing that, pretending to do that, acting like doing that. The only force that's going to be able to do that is God. God force is going to be able to do that. The reason why I say God is because I follow the Old Testament. The Old Testament God of Moses, King David, King Solomon. That's God, right? The same God that Moses prayed to is the same God that I pray to. You see what I'm saying? Now, as far as Jesus Christ, I disagree with him on that, because it's very simple. You could believe as much as you want. He's finna go into these things, and we're gonna talk about this again. Right? He said there's no name above the name Jesus Christ. That's a false. Right? Because the character in the New Testament, the Messiah in the New Testament, in the Bible, 100% undebatable. This is non-debatable. His name was not Jesus Christ. His mother didn't call him Jesus Christ. Joseph, his father, didn't call him Jesus Christ. His brothers didn't call him Jesus Christ. The disciples didn't call him Jesus Christ. Nobody during that time called them by the name of Jesus. So the name Jesus Christ, even if you want to just say like that's a modern day form of his name, you can't say that that's the name that you have to pray to and call on, or the name that's above all names, because that was not his name. And the Bible doesn't tell us that that his name, I guess, will be changed, but there's some scriptures, I guess, where you could possibly try to interpret that in the New Testament, even though you would be wrong. So I'm just trying to be honest. But let's get into, so I disagree with him on that, and for me, that's how I kind of know like he not following the truth. And I honestly will say, like, in my walk of life and my belief, I will say that he think he got the demons off of him, but he still got the demons on him. But he's going to be in a rude awakening when he sees when the Lord does return, and it's not Jesus Christ or the image that he thought it was. But let's let this play. But other than that, I think he's going to speak a lot of truth here. Watch.
To this guest, hello.
Hi.
Billy Crone is in the studio.
Yeah, glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, super happy to have you here. There's so much that I want to talk about, but I do want to give because we are going to talk about all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world right now. So tell us because you have a kind of crazy testimony. So how on earth where were you at, and how did you find Jesus in the midst of all the craziness?
The extreme short version is a 1980s ex-headbanger, drug addict, sexual immoral, male chauvinist pig guy involved in Satanism, the occult, and New Age.
That's a mouthful.
Yes.
That's a lot.
A little bit of an expanded version is I grew up actually in the Midwest, Kansas, Nebraska, and a very isolated existence. But I grew up with a disdain and a hatred for Christianity.
Why is that?
Because of the hypocrisy that I saw growing up in high school.
Okay.
I've done about every drug under the sun, all kinds of immoral behavior. Again, it was a male chauvinist pig. And, it was the 80s, sex, drugs, rock and roll, do whatever you want, please yourself, all that kind of stuff. And the guys that I was partying with, doing all the rotten things, the sinful things, guess where they would go on Sundays if they weren't too hungover or strung out?
Do they go to church?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never told me about Jesus, go figure. But the message they were sending loud and clear to me was Christianity is a joke, because you're doing the same thing. Your life is no different than mine.
And I would say that it's still a joke. He just believe in it now because of whatever he went through. But it's still a joke. And the reason why I would say, I know a lot of people would disagree with it, but the reason why I would say it is because Christians are not following the law, statutes, and commandments of God. So going back to King James, which I actually need to re-listen to that book again and learn it so I could quote because I think he had chapters, so I have to be able to quote the chapters of that book, because it's actually a very informational book and you should check it out. Honestly, King James believed that you had to follow the laws and the ways of the Lord to get the demons off of you. So we have to ask, is he following the ways and the laws of the Lord? I could tell you right now, he's not. Right off the back, he's going against, or he's sinning against shaving your face. He's an older man. I'm sure that he could grow a beard. His face wouldn't be 100% naked like that, whether he could grow a beard or not. So he's shaving his beard. That's actually a law against the Lord. The Lord says not to shave your beard. Watch this. So this is Leviticus 19, chapter 19, verse 27. This is the law that Moses kept. Right? It says, ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. So it's like saying you shouldn't shave off your beards. If you want to get deeper into it, it's saying like a goatee. That form will be against the Lord. And then when it says you should not round the corners of your head, it's not talking about a hairline up, because that's something natural that you already got. You're just following the lining really that's already there and making it sharper. That's not against the law. It's an ancient custom that, if you Google it, Arabs used to keep, where they'll make their hair into like a bowl shape, meaning they'll cut off all the edges by the ear, the corners at the back, right, all the way to the sideburns. They would cut all that hair off bald, and then they would have like a bowl shape of hair at the top of their head, and that was something that they used to do to worship a false god. And you could look that up. So it's more kind of like a bald fade, like a fade, but like a bald fade. That's what it's talking about not to do when it says the corners of your head. It's not talking about a hairline. It says, neither should thou not mar the corners of thy beard. That's talking about kind of the same thing, balding your beard, and you will kind of leave like a goatee. You will leave like a goatee around your chin, like a goatee strap. That's all against the laws of the Lord, and this is the same law that Moses kept. Right, now watch this. So just a little bit of teaching. So when you look at his chin and his face, he's shaving it off completely bald, not even just a goatee, but just completely bald. And as a Hebrew Israelite man and a man of the Lord wanted his men to keep a beard on their face. That's why he gave you the ability to even grow the beard on your face. But not everybody has it, but you try to the best of your ability.
And frankly, I wanted some answers to life. But so when I got awakened to, I need to seek out spiritual truth. Part of it was one of my friends died in a car wreck, and I should have been there. And 3 days later, I'm staring his corpse in a casket, and it was a huge wake-up call. So I realized, man, I better figure out what life's all about, because that's going to be me. And that was the message. When I looked at him in the casket, it was, what's going to happen when you die? And it wouldn't leave me. I tried to drown it out with alcohol and drugs and all that stuff, and it just wouldn't go away. So I began a search.
So that's the demons. You see, he said he tried to drown it out, but he was hearing those voices, and he kept thinking about death. That's the demons that's on him. That see, the demons don't come to you and kill you. The demons get you to kill yourself, get you to get in a situation where you will be killed. Rather you fall asleep at the wheel, rather you get into a fight and then it turns deadly, rather you go jump off a bridge, rather the demons get you to do something that ends your life. They don't come kill you. Like a demon don't come up on you and kill you or something while you sleep, or I guess like just attack you like in the movies. The demons possess you and then get you to kill yourself. Right? So he was hearing that, and he had that dark cloud over his head. He was feeling that pressure from the demons, and he tried to drown it out, what he say, with alcohol and drugs. And that's what you see a lot of celebrities doing. You see a lot of them on drugs. Like, think about, like, I'm going to name, because why not? This is all in the name of the Lord. This is all work for the Lord. So look at like a Trippie Redd. You see him on drugs, or look like a Chris Brown. Like, you could tell when a person used to be an addict or still is an addict, because they got like a twitchy movement. They twitch, and they mouth kind of like hangs and a little bit to the side, and they kind of got like a twitchy movement. And look at Chris Brown. Go look at interviews with Chris Brown and just see his mannerisms and see how he moves. You could tell. I'm not saying that he's still on drugs, but you could tell he's been on hard drugs before. Look at a Lil Wayne, like a rapper like a Lil Wayne. You could tell he's been on drugs. You see all these different people, your Little Pumps, your 6ix9ines, your Future, Young Thug, like all these different people that was on hard drugs. They all do those hard drugs to try to suppress the demons that's on them. That's the reason why they do it, because their lives is miserable without those drugs. See, you following the Lord, and even if, and look, I will say this, because I'm gonna make a disclaimer, and a lot of people would not agree with this or don't like this, because even what I just said earlier about him not following the true God, but you got to look at it as a journey. Like, you may come up in the truth, and you may be like wanting to seek the Lord, but you may start off not following the true God, but you start to gain more knowledge. See, that happened with me. I would say that happened with me, because I used to follow the New Testament, right? And I had to gain more knowledge. But the Lord does not just discard you because, okay, you're not following him correctly, or you're not following the right God. He looks in your heart to see, are you trying to get the truth, right? So this is where a lot of brothers go wrong in this truth, in this walk of ours. They not trying to get the truth. They want to follow a doctrine of leaders that they look up to, so they could be a part of a group, and it makes them feel good being accepted into a group. They not searching for the truth, so the Lord's going to give them over to reprobate minds. When you say a reprobate mind, it's so simple, like we were just explaining earlier. The Messiah name in the New Testament, the ones that people call Jesus Christ, that's the actual man that lived on earth. That's not his real name. So therefore, that cannot be the name that's above all names, because that was not the name that the angel gave to his mother to give to him. That is not the name. The angel did not come down and say his name's going to be Jesus Christ. 100%. Because Christ is not even a last name. First off, Jesus, you would say that would be a first name, but Christ wouldn't even be a last name. That's a title. You see what I'm saying? So people that made Jesus Christ into like a first and last name, and that's false. So when you get that information, you got to do something with the information. If you want to continue believing it, now the Lord's going to give you over to a reprobate mind, because something that could be proven truth, you're not seeking the truth. So that's why I put the disclaimer. Sometimes brothers get into this and they think something is the truth, but they not really following the truth, but they think it is. But the Lord don't just discard them and give them a reprobate mind. The Lord still deals with them and gives them the truth, and kind of like grows them up in the truth, because they are the ones that's actually seeking the truth. And that's a big difference from a lot of people. Let's let this play.
But because of what I grew up with, I said, I ain't going down that road. That's a joke. So my first big mistake, actually, the irony is my first prayer was to Satan. And I said, oh yeah, it was, I said, you can have this life if you give me power and significance. That's all.
Bingo. You see what he said? So at that point, he made a contract with Satan at that point. He prayed to Satan. He said, he told Satan that he would give Satan his life, and he wanted power and influence, which is what most men want. And that's the big test. That's the temptation. Is having power and influence in this world. Because when you wrap money, jewelry, cars, clothes, women, all those type things up, what are those things? What are those things? It's just different forms of power and influence, right? So that's what all men desire. But But see, that's what you're going to get in the kingdom anyways. But that's the temptation. That's the test. We live in a wicked world right now. We're not living in a righteous kingdom yet. So can you let go of the wicked things, suffer for a little bit, long suffering, right? Until the kingdom comes where you're going to have that power and influence. A lot of men don't make it that far, and it is a very hard thing to deal with, I must say, because a lot of men just say, you know what, I want power and influence on this world. And guess what? If you want power and influence, like you may be wondering, like, how come when I start a podcast it don't get millions of views? How come none of my videos go viral and then I start making thousands of dollars off social media? How come if I want to do music I don't blow up like Lil Wayne did? Or how come I wasn't gifted to play sports? Or my businesses, if I try to open a business it fails, it doesn't. So see, you might be asking yourself, like, how come those things don't work? Well, it's probably because you're trying to be a righteous person in a wicked world. See, if you want those things to work, all you got to do is make a contract with Satan. And next thing you know, it'd be weird. It'd be like you would just start being successful in the world. You'd be like, damn, everything's working for me now. But see, this is where the trickery by Satan comes in at. You now think that it's God blessing you. See, I'm getting deep. I'm getting too deep. Look, you think that you going to a mega TD Jakes church. You think that you're going to a prosperity church, Joel Osteen church. You see these men and you say, man, look, they powerful. They got influence. They got 1,000 people at church every weekend that love them, that looks up to them as a leader. They got power. They got fame. You might look at him and be like, man, look, God is on his side. God is with him. And that's why a lot of people fall for that trap, because they go follow him because of the popularity and the power and think, well, he got to be doing something right. God got to be on his side for him to have all that power and popularity. That's what people think. So I'm going to follow him. I'm going to go to his church. No, that's not how it works. The people that get power and influence in this world that we live in right now are the wicked people. The people that have made a deal with Satan. That's how you get all those things. If you don't make the deal with Satan, ain't none of your stuff. You're not going to prosper anything. You still got the curses of Deuteronomy on you until the kingdom comes. But the difference is this world is passing away, as you can see right now, right? And the kingdom is going to be forever and 1,000,000 times greater.
And the irony is, that's what people think today. They think there's this, I call it the mystical middle ground. And they say, well, I'm not a wacky Christian like Pastor Billy is today, but I'm not a Satanist. I'm just kind of in this middle ground. I haven't figured out. No, there is no middle ground. Mm-hmm. The Bible's very clear. You either belong to God or you belong to the devil. So the irony is, the whole time I'm making a pact with the devil, I already belong to him. Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so he showed his true character within 3 months. I tried to kill myself 3 different times.
Were you starting to be oppressed?
Yeah.
You hear that? He said he tried to kill himself 3 different times. I told you, it's real. These people, there are people out there that are making contracts and deals with Satan every day, right? And Satan is an instrument of God. And Satan is trying to do what? What did King James say? Trick them out their lives, get them to kill themselves or die in some type of way.
If I wasn't demon possessed by then, I was by then.
Really?
I was multiply demon possessed because of what I got involved in. It wasn't just Satanism, because after that, and I tried to kill myself 3 different times, which is not a surprise. John chapter 8, Jesus says Satan's a liar, he's the father of all lies, and he's a murderer, and he's been one from the beginning. So been there, done that, deep, dark depression, thinking that suicide's the only way out. That's from Satan. He's a murderer. That's what they do. They want to kill you so you can join.
You heard what he said? He said that he said he had multiple demons on him. He was possessed by multiple demons. And that's another thing that King James said. It's like, it's not just one demon. You can have a legion of demons on you.
Them in hell. But it got even worse, because I'm going, like, I survived that. Mm-hmm. 3 suicide attempts.
And that's just like the grace of God.
Oh, absolutely. Rebecca, I should have been dead in hell so many different times. God's been so merciful to me. The things that I've been involved in, the satanic places that I went, Looking back, God totally protected me from that. Somebody could have killed me and used me as a ritual sacrifice, and would never have found my body. You know, it's no joke. And then
how did you get involved? How did you find those people?
Well, part of it was the music. The music, you know, glamorizes Satan and the devil. And
did you hear that? Now, King James said that Satan specialized in magicians, music artists, and the music. Said the demons liked it to party to music. The demons like music. That's what King James was saying. See, King James, the book Demonology by King James was a warning. It wasn't him, oh, I'm into witchcraft, he wants to be a witch, or he wants to be a demon. No, that's not what the book is about. Or he liked demons, or he liked witches. That wasn't what the book was about. The book was a warning. And that's why I'm giving you this example of a man's testimony. And it's lining up with everything that King James was saying. And he hasn't even brought up the book Demonology by King James. He's talking about the Bible. But King James was also talking about the Bible. Right? So, like he said, he was possessed by multiple demons. You know, watch this.
And of course, is anti-God, anti-Christianity, Jesus. And so it's that rebellious nature. Things of that nature. And but then the second mistake I had was I moved to California after that, because I got to make a change. I almost died, right? But it didn't last very long, because unfortunately the guy who lived next to me in the apartment complex, he turned me on to the Satanic Bible and Tom LaVey. So I began doing the rituals and things, because it's basically a ritual book is all it is, that you do to further connect with Satanism. Not good. So again, if I wasn't already demon possessed, now I'm really demon possessed.
So rituals could go into witchcraft. They are doing witchcraft, man. See, I didn't believe it, bro, because I seen somebody try to make a deal with Satan and try to do some witchcraft, which was my cousin. Right? So we grew up in a house, and it was like, I don't know, we were young. Right? And then at this time, my parents, we grew up poor in the hood, but at this point in time when this happened, my parents actually made it out of the hood and made it to somewhat middle class. So at that point, we were good. You know, we had a 4-bedroom house, upstairs, downstairs, in a nice neighborhood on the nice side of town. My parents had actually made it out. For some reason, you want to know what it was? It was just a spirit. He had no reason to want to follow Satan. Because like I said, at that point in time, we were good. It's just a spirit on him. And I guess that happens, you know. But he definitely did the whole star thing and the blood thing and tried to make a contract with Satan. But now his life, we've been separated for a long time because he moved to another state. He was our cousin, so he ended up moving back with his mom. And that was over 10 years ago, over 15 years ago. So it's been a long time since I even seen him. He went his own way. But I heard down there, he went through a lot down there. I mean, in and out of jail. He can't stay out of jail. Hardcore drugs. While he was in jail, he had a heart surgery. So he damn near died. You know, and I just think it was all from when we were kids and he made that deal with Satan. You know, and the thing about it is, which is now that I'm thinking about it, which is actually kind of interesting, it's like I was that close because I seen him do it. But now I'm wondering, as a kid and him being my big cousin, why didn't I follow him and do it with him? What stopped me? Just that split second from me saying, oh, let me do it with you. Oh, I want to do it too. Come on, let's do it together. Or him just saying, come on, do it with me. And me like, okay, come on. You know, as being little kids. Not really little kids, kind of like teenagers. Like freshman age, 14, 13. It's like, when he did that shit, I seen him starting it, and I was like, you crazy, bro. I don't know what the hell you doing. Nah, you is going too crazy right now. That was my attitude. But it could have easily been like, oh, I'm finna do it with you. So that's crazy. That's why I say I feel like the Lord always been there with me, protecting me, keeping me on a path, and we got to see what that future holds. You see what I'm saying? But he kind of did it. I seen him starting it, left, told him about himself, and then the next day it was like, what the hell, bro? Like, what did you do? Kind of shit. And then it was like already done, whatever he did. Just telling you the truth. Hopefully, well, I think it did work on him, and I did think Satan came after him, but like King James said, you could repent and the demons will leave you alone. He's from speaking about
opened the door thin.
My sister had roomed with me for a little while, and then I remember after I got saved in 93, and then she got saved about a year later, she had said, hey man, I found some of those old tapes. We used to videotape ourselves back in the day. And she said, I found some of those old tapes of when we were rooming together. You want to see them? And I said, absolutely not. That was the most horrific nightmare. I don't ever want to go back to those days, ever. There's nothing to, whatever. She said, well, I'll just tell you this. She said, I watched one of them. You should see your eyes. They're just seething. It's demonic. I was possessed. Right? And that was from my own sister. And, but anyway, then it got even worse. Then I had a coworker who turned me on to New Age. Oh, man, I was like a kid in a candy store at that point. So I jump off of Satanism, and I start going, which is another lie of Satan, Genesis 3, you'll be like God. You decide between good and evil, etc. And that's the core of New Age. You get to decide. I'll take a little bit of Buddhism, take some Hinduism, Eastern mysticism, shamanism, self-help, secular psychology. You put whatever you want on there. Then at that time, at the same time, most people don't realize this, and I write a lot about this, is I'm into altered states of consciousness now. I'm communing with demons, whether it be through meditation, whether it be through psychotropic drugs to get you there, just like that. And of course, you don't call them demons, you call them higher power or an angel.
Like light guides.
But guess who popped up during those times of altered state of consciousness? UFOs, aliens.
Really?
Or it's all demonic, Rebecca. I'm telling you, been there, done that. And so they're popping in. So because you got these different entities, but that's what they do. Satan masquerades as an angel of light, the Bible says. So these things masquerade. They don't always come in and it's like, oh, a scary, freaky demon. Sometimes they appear like, oh, that's angelic, and that's how people get sucked in. They go, you can't tell me that this is.
See, and then that right there, see, man, y'all that's listening to this video, I'm gonna tell you this. Get ready. It's finna be so much deception with the AI technology. You are not going to know what's true, what's false, who is the agent, who's bad, who's good. If you ain't already in this thing and then study diligently, your time is running out. See, like, I ain't even gonna say it that way because you still got time, but it's running out. Listen, it's hard to say because I don't know if he's an agent, because what he's saying is like, so when the Lord comes back and the angels come back, the world is going to say that the Lord and the angels are demons, aliens coming back to take over the earth. Because the wicked is ruling the earth right now, have influence on the earth right now. Anything that's, look, if 1 billion people were Christians, right? And if that was the true way of God, the wicked elites that are ruling the earth would not allow that religion to be practiced. The president of the United States wouldn't go to Nigeria and blow up and kill some people that were over there killing Christians if that was the way of the Lord. They don't want you following the Lord for real. So they wouldn't allow that. The fact that they do allow it, and it is so many Christians, should tell you that that's not the true way to the Lord. That is the deception. Many are called, few are chosen. Remember that. This is little numbers, not everybody's following the right religion, basically. No, that's not what's going on. Everybody's going to be deceiving. Very few remnants is actually going to be the elect. If we left it up to like the Christian belief, then damn near everybody's going to be saved, because it's more Christians on earth than anybody. Than any other religion. That's what they say. So that means the number one religion on earth is the number one is all the people that's going to be saved. But the Bible doesn't give you that picture. The Bible gives you a picture that most people are going to be deceived, and only a very small remnant is going to be saved. That's what the Bible gives you. But look, let me go back to prophecy. Pursuing the prophecy in the Bible, right? And there's many different prophecies. Deuteronomy, right? If you are New Testament, then you got Revelations, right? When the Lord comes back, and what's that? Revelations chapter 12, starting at verse 7, right? The devil and his angels. It doesn't say it that way. See, I went fully Old Testament, but you know, pretty much God and his angels versus the dragon and his angels, or his army. Revelations chapter 19, starting at verse like 19, where the armies, the kings and the armies of the earth went to make war with him that sat on a horse. So it's telling you that the kings and the armies, right? So when you take American army, a lot of those people in there, I'll say most, are Christians. But these are the same army and the kings of the earth that's going to fight against him that sat on a horse, pursuant to Revelations 19. Go read it, right? Revelations chapter 6, right? Revelations, it says that after it lists a whole bunch of different plagues, which we know is talking about missiles, right? And then it says at the end, you know, every great man, small man, tall, rich, bond, whatever, should hide themselves in the dens, which we know are bunkers, and they should hide them from the face of you know, the Lord, right? So it's giving you a sense that people are going to be hiding and weeping of tears and gashings of teeth and fear when the Lord comes back, right? If you let them say it, then you know most people on the earth is Christian, billions of Christians, then everybody's gonna be happy pretty much. It's gonna seem like that because the majority is church. That's not what the Bible is saying. When the Lord comes back, he's gonna come back, and the angels are gonna come back, and what we call UFOs is called chariots in the Bible. Look up Ezekiel chapter 1. It talks about chariots. Look up 2 Kings with Elisha and Elijah being separated. Elijah going up by a whirlwind. That's talking about chariots, right? Which just means wheeled vehicles, you know. And it you got many other precepts throughout the Bible. I'm just giving you a couple off the top of my head, which I actually gotta brushing up a little bit. Zechariah chapter 5, right? He looked up, behold, you know, there was a scroll. This is talking about chariots. We call them UFOs. But the UFOs that you're seeing, I believe, are piloted by like drone technology. But that drone technology is in the control of God and angels. When the real thing comes back, when God and the angels come back, they're coming back to save their elect. There's going to be a war in the heavens, Revelation chapter 12, right? Between God and his army, the angels, and man, the kings of the earth and their army, just like Independence Day. That's what it's going to look like. Actually, the movie Independence Day came from the Bible, Revelation chapter 12, and then if you go into the Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras chapter 13. Go read everything I'm quoting. They didn't make the movie up from nowhere. They took it from these things, right? So that war in the heavens, right, is going to be, it's going to look like Independence Day. What we call UFOs are going to be fighting against jets in the sky. And the propaganda that they're going to be telling, because you got to understand the elites, they control the churches. They control the Catholic Church, the Pope, and all of them are in on it. They're a part of the false prophet that's going to be thrown into the lake of fire. They are going to tell the news, media, YouTube, because YouTube has a lot of agents on it. Don't think that YouTube got everybody telling the truth. No, they understand that billions of people are on YouTube and they have their agents working on YouTube, right? And they are in control of the churches, and they going to tell the Christian churches, Catholic churches, all the major churches to tell their people that the force that is invading the earth and destroying their cities is aliens, and demons. That's what they're going to tell them. And that they must pray that the U.S. Army and the armies of the earth defeat the aliens and demons. But that's not the truth. It's going to be God and angels. But you being told this whole time that when God comes back, he's just going to rapture the Christians. But you're not understanding, no, when God comes back, he's going to put a lot of people to death. That's why there is such thing as a lake of fire. And he's going to destroy cities. That's in the book of Daniel. That's prophecy in the book of Daniel. Right? Where it talks about, and it's in the book of Jeremiah too, also. Damn, I gotta brushing up a little bit. But in Jeremiah, it says, it should be like Sodom and Gomorrah in those days. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by the Lord. So that fire, and then going into Revelation chapter 6, if you are New Testament, it speaks about that fire raining down. So the Lord is going to destroy Mystery Babylon. He's going to destroy majority of the world, man. And he's going to definitely destroy the wicked. And that's going to be called Judgment Day. It's not going to be Satan and demons doing it. Maybe Satan and demons may actually be there doing things. But Satan is the instrument of God pursuant to King James.
Wrong, or you can't tell me, sometimes they'll even say this wasn't from God, because I felt so euphoric, and it was, I cried alligator tears, and it was such an emotional thing. It wasn't scary at all. Well, that doesn't mean it's not demonic. So anyway, long story short, I am full on demon possessed, probably multiple times. These things were driving me insane, literally. In fact, the attacks got worse there at the very end before I got saved, because I'm getting darker and deeper into it. And I remember 2 weeks before I got saved, one of these attacks got really vicious. And it's hard to describe because they're not on the outside of you. They're on the inside of you. And you're not in control. And then that fuels the fear, the terror. It's like, well, what if this doesn't stop? But I remember the thought literally going through my head as a non-Christian. If I don't fight this, I'm going to go insane and I'll never come back. That's what they were doing. They were driving me insane. And so anyway, basically Easter 1993, Resurrection Sunday.
I have one question though.
Yeah, sure.
Because a lot of people, they stay attached to this stuff for a very long time and they're not aggressive towards their host, almost because they want to use the host. Do you think almost God was having them? It's a weird question, but you almost feel like they were attacking you because they saw the call of God in your life and they're just trying to destroy you?
Well, I think it's just their nature to destroy. That's the nature of Satan, and certainly the demons that work with him. Satan is not omniscient like God. So to what degree did he know with the calling of God? I don't know. I just know that that's who they are. That's what they do. Could they maybe sense that God's angels were strangely always protecting me from ultimately dying? I'm sure they could see that, so maybe that kind of gave them a clue, if you will. But I didn't see it coming. It's like God went snap and then saved me that fast. Really? There was no warming up to Christianity for me. There was like, oh, you Christians are so wonderful, your apologetic discourse. Because I used to love to chew Christians up and spit them out. They couldn't even answer my basic questions. How do you know the Bible, it really did come from God? Hey, how do you even know God exists? Hey, if God's real, then why is there evil and suffering? They couldn't answer me. But I had two faithful Christians that, even though they couldn't answer my skeptical questions, they kept saying, it's Jesus, it's Jesus, it's Jesus. So long story short, the night before I get saved, I'm in a restaurant, I blacked out. Next thing I know, I've been blacking out more and more frequently. Next thing I know, I wake up on the floor and I hear this knock, 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 knock. And it's the guy I was partying with. His parents were Christians. They had no idea what he was up to. And so I'm on the floor in his bedroom. His name was Mark. And they knock on the door. Mark, it's Easter. You're going to go to church services. It's Easter. And he said, no. And they kept knocking. I said, come on, you got to at least go on Easter.
Yo, and I don't want to keep speaking about like his belief. I kind of already said how I feel about it. But Easter is completely a wicked holiday. Even in the New Testament, who people call Jesus Christ did not celebrate Easter. Easter, if you look into the origins of Easter, right, that's celebrating, I believe, I forgot the God name. You're gonna have to look it up. You could ask ChatGPT and it'll tell you the origins of Easter. It's celebrating like a woman goddess worship. right? Which is completely wicked. What does eggs have to do with bunnies? Bunnies do not hatch out of eggs. So what are you searching for eggs for to do with what? It's to bake a cake for a false god. So if you're worshiping Easter, you got demons on you still, and you are worshiping false god, and God is against that. If you calling on the name Jesus Christ, you're not calling on the correct name, and that is against God. And see, that's the cold thing about it. And that's the thing that's like wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 in the Apocrypha, right? There should be weeping and gnashing of teeth, right? People are going to be astonished at who actually gets saved. People are going to be like, that was him? Actually, let me go to it. I gotta go to it. So right here, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, because people are going to be, oh my goodness, people are going to be so terrified when they see the Lord comes back. You got to think about it. If you're the elite, right, and this is, you build up this country, you build up this power structure, NATO, right, and this is your paradise, and you got godlike power on this earth. If a forest comes down and start destroying your cities, start destroying your power force, taking your riches, pretty much destroying you, what are you going to tell your people? Well, you're going to tell your people that it's a demon doing it. Of course, right? Many nations before looked at God, the God of the Israelites, as a demon and called it. They got writings of calling the God of the Israelites a demon. Because, of course, he's coming in a demon-like force to them because he's going to torment their asses for being wicked, right? But the world, the people think that Christians, Muslims, you know, they are looking for salvation when the Lord come back, and they are up for a rude awakening when they find out something so simple to find out too, that everything they believe was false. Watch this. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 verse 1. Then should a righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. Salvation gonna be very strange because they're gonna be looking for the Christian church and church members to get saved, and they're gonna be like, who is these people getting saved? But there's another deception that's going on, and that deception is the people that actually get saved by the Lord, they're going to say that those people are getting abducted by demons because they are wicked. So the elect that's actually righteous, that's being saved by the Lord, they're going to tell you that it's actually the wicked being abducted by demons. So they're going to call the elect wicked, but that was told to you in Isaiah 45 when it might not be Isaiah 45, you have to fact check me, but that was told to you in the book of Isaiah where it says that they call good evil and they call evil good. So the evil people running around talking about crosses and they're a Christian and Jesus Christ, they're actually, the world look at them as the good people. And the people that's actually going to be saved by the Lord, that's the good people, the world's going to look at them as the wicked people. Watch this. The strangeness of his salvation, so for all that they looked for, right? And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit should say within themselves, this was he who we had sometime in derision and a proverb reproach. So they gonna be like, look, the people that got saved was the people that we had in derision. There was a proverb reproach. And they gonna be anguish of spirit because they really believed so hard in Jesus. They really believed that they had the right religion. They really believed that they had the right God and that they was doing the right thing and that they was good people. But they gonna find out that it's not. Verse 4. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of God and his lot is among the saints? But like, how are they the elect? It says, therefore have we erred from the way of truth. That's what they're going to say. Christians, Catholics are going to say they when the Lord comes back and they see that power of the Lord, and it's because a lot of them will still try to deny it to the end, but when it becomes undeniable, no, this is God that returned and this is God punishing the earth. They are going to say we erred from the way of truth. That's what they gonna say. They gonna say, look, man, we erred from. Remember that movie In the Mist, when that lady was in the grocery store, she was talking to the people, and she was like pretty much just laying it on them, telling them like, look, pretty much telling them they erred from the way of truth. And she said, no, he's the God of the Israelites, and he's a jealous guy, and he's a powerful guy. He's here to judge us. And it was like aliens or something in the mist that was outside destroying the earth. They took that from the Bible. That's what it's gonna look like, because you're gonna have people running around screaming on Jesus, Christians and stuff, and then you're gonna have some people that's gonna get the rebuking, and they gonna say, hey, look, all that shit is been proven to be false. This is not demons out here. This is God doing this, right? And the God is punishing the people, right? So they gonna say, look, we err from the way of truth. They think they got the truth right now, but then they gonna have to admit it, like, oh yeah, we err from the way of truth. And the light of righteousness has not shined upon us, because righteousness is what? Following law, statutes, commandments of the Lord. If you go into a Christian or Catholic church and they not telling you that you got to follow the law, statutes, commandments that's found in the first 5 books of the Bible, then you are erring from the truth. And the Son of righteousness rose not upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as of the way of the Lord, we have not known it. Because you don't, in the Catholic and Christian churches and Islam stuff, you don't learn the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord and to follow, right? You learn different things. You ain't got to follow the law no more. You don't have to follow dietary law no more. You can eat what you want to eat. You know what I mean? You could be a supremacist and you could steal land in America and not give reparations out for it. You could do that. It's okay. And then, you know, you could just come join the land and get rich off of it and come live here and be a citizen here because, you know, you didn't do it personally, you say. But you could benefit off of it, right? And it's okay, right? You could go and tell another nation that they can't have a nuclear missile, but you got a nuclear missile. You could do it because you just don't want them to have one. You know, you could go around the world, put bases around. You could do all these things, right? And that's what you think until the Lord shows up, right? Because you wearing it says, verse 7, we are wearing ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. The government is not just rogue doing what it wants to do. The government gets its power from the people. The people elect these different officials. Donald Trump was elected by the people. The people pay taxes. The people give money. These people are deceiving you, man. So it all goes together, right? Verse 8. What has pride profit us, or what good has riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by, and as a ship that passes over the waves of the water, which when it is gone by, the trace thereof cannot be found, neither the pathway of the keel and the waves. Pretty much saying that, look, all their riches are going to be taken, gone, washed away when the destruction happened, right? So when you go to America, right, like if you look at the average so-called black family, average $40,000 a year. So those are the people with riches, because the average family makes $40,000 a year, which is way below poverty, right? So those ain't the people with the riches. So who's the people with the riches on earth? Well, you look at the average white family that are most likely Christians or Catholic. They make equivalent to an average of $140,000, and that number goes up and down. It might be $200,000 yearly. So who got the riches in America, right? And then American dollar is stronger than most currency on the world. So who got the riches compared to the world? It's not rocket science. It's hard to admit it. People are in denial, and that's why they can't follow the Lord. It's hard to admit that the Lord name is not Jesus Christ. It's hard to admit that. People kind of know that, because a lot of people say Joshua. They might say Yahshua, it's his actual name, but then they go back to using the name Jesus, because it's hard to admit that you're following a religion, a false religion, and a false God. It's hard to admit that you following Zeus. It's hard to admit when you call on the name Jesus, you're calling on Zeus. It's hard to admit that when you celebrate Easter, you're worshiping a false god. When you celebrate Christmas, you're worshiping Santa Claus, which is a false god. It's hard to admit those things, even though it's right in front of you. And that's the big test. It's right in front of you. It's easy. I just told it to you. You can go fact check it and see if it's true or not. Is his real name Jesus? The answer is no. Should you be celebrating Easter and Christmas? The answer is no. Is celebrating Christmas worship at Santa Claus? 100%. Or do you bow down to the tree to get the presents from under the tree? You're bowing down. I got a cousin that used to be in the truth with me. He just celebrated Christmas last year. I got a picture saved in my gallery of him bowing down to the tree. Because you got to bow down to get the presents. That's why the presents are put underneath the tree, so you can bow down. And then it's a star at the top of the tree. You're bowing down. And that's all in the God name of Santa Claus. Santa Claus that comes down and give you gifts. And Santa Claus does what? He judges your kids, whether they were good or naughty. He judges them. He gives them presents based on if they was good or... That's worshiping the God, man. When did the God of the Bible ever say to celebrate Christmas and that Santa Claus was going to come down and judge your kids based on if they were good or naughty? Just off that knowledge right now, if you hear this video, just off that knowledge right now, you should be like, I'm not celebrating Christmas no more. But you're not going to do it because you're following a religion and you have those demons and you are following Satan. And that's the great test. Let's go back.
He said no, so they left. So we get up. I had a hangover. It's Sunday, I got to get to work the next day. So I started drinking some coffee. Mark's trying to get rid of the headache. Got to get some rest. That wasn't working. So I drove across town. I was rooming with my brother. He was out of town, so I'm all by myself at that time. So I still got the headache. So I go to the cupboard. I start slamming some vodka, trying to get rid of the headache. And then bang, it happened again with the demonic terror. This time, I'm telling you, you could have told me 5 seconds before I got saved, hey, you're about to get saved. I would have punched you, spit at you. I didn't see it coming. It was literally, and that was the trigger point, that God used that demonic terror and the seeds that were planted from 2 faithful Christians, and I was mean and nasty to him. And he goes, watch this, bang. And so this time my knee-jerk reaction was, I was 25, I ran to my bedroom, I dropped on my knees, and I said, God, if you're real and you really want this life, you can have it. And then I knew that wasn't enough. I knew inherently, because of the seeds that were planted, I had to call upon the name of Jesus Christ. So I followed that up with, Jesus Christ, would you please save me and forgive me? And bang, instantly, just like that, all the demons completely left me. I was light as a...
I would say that Satan, he made a deal with Satan at that point, and Satan relieved the pain, because King James also explained how Satan could heal you, Satan could give you knowledge, right? And Satan could work with you. Like he'll work with you, meaning like he could torment you, and then he could kind of like pull the demons back. That's kind of what King James was kind of explaining. You know, if you're being a good, see, that's why, like, when you look at the celebrities, they have to continue being wicked, because that's the only way. You got 2 ways. You could follow the law, statutes, commandments, follow the ways of God, and those demons will leave you alone. Or if you are a good servant of Satan, then Satan will make it enjoyable for you. That's why he gives you riches and things like that, until the time comes where he requires your life, right? So a couple things he said. He said that he knew he was saved. You're not saved yet, buddy. Salvation happens when the Lord comes back. That's 100%. That's not false. That's 100% truth. You can look it up, do your own research. You are not saved until the Lord comes back and saves you from the destruction that's going to be happening on earth. World War III destruction that's going to be happening on earth. When the Lord comes back and what he says, rapture you up. When you get raptured up, that's when you're saved. You have not been raptured up yet. You're still on earth. You are not saved yet. So that's already let you know that you're following a false religion. Let me give you the precept. Matthew chapter 25, the 10 virgins had to wait until the bridegroom came back to enter into the wedding. When they enter in the wedding, that's being saved. They weren't saved before the bridegroom came back. They had to wait. That's why they had to get enough oil to make it into when he came back. And then they were able to go into, matter of fact, let's get that. Let's teach y'all something, because y'all might think that I'm just making things up and I'm following religion. So let's see if it's true or false, right? Let's see how salvation works. Verse 25, I'm going to run through it real fast because it's long. Chapter 25, verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be like unto 10 virgins which took their lamp and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise and the 5 were foolish, right? And you know the story, so I'm just going to go straight through it for lack of time, right? So 5 of them didn't have enough oil. They tried to buy from the ones that did. They said, no, go buy from somewhere else, right? Now let's keep going, because I want to get straight to the point. Verse 11. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, verse 10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. So salvation don't happen until the bridegroom comes, right? And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut, right? So that's going to look like the UFOs taking up people, and then the doors of so-called UFOs, chariots of Israel, are going to be shut, right? Verse 11. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither day nor hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So, pursuant to the New Testament, you got to wait until he comes. You don't get saved before. You got to wait. Let's go.
Me, I was light as a feather.
And also he said that it wasn't enough just to pray to God, that he had to say the name Jesus Christ. That's false, because once again, the character in the Bible, Son of Man, in the New Testament, his real name, the name that the angel, that his mother named him, that his mother called him for his life, was 100% proven with facts. Not Jesus Christ. And even the boy, not Billy Carson, Wes Huff would tell you that the real name was not Jesus Christ. Go ask Wes Huff, y'all favorite new Christian or whatever, ask him, did Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ, call him by the name Jesus Christ when he was living?
I was crying. I was weeping. I knew I was set free. I had my mind back for the first time in 10 years. It was perfectly clear. I was instantly delivered from all the drugs, the immorality, and not by myself. I got rid of all my occult. Start reading the Bible. I'm a Christian now. I went to church. That's it. Woke up the next day, go to Bible college. I go, what? Not me. I'm disqualified. I thought you had to be related to Pat Boone or something. And I tried every religion under the sun. Nothing worked. But when you call upon the name of Jesus Christ, okay, you didn't have to convince me. I'm saved. No church thing. I just wanted to know more.
And I want to say this, like, I'm just here to give you the truth and find the truth myself. If him going to church, becoming a Christian, right, if that led to him doing good deeds, him being a better person than what he was, you know, that's good for him. That's good for him. I'm going to get at to him and say that's good for him. But what's good for the Lord may not be what's just good for you. What's good for the Lord is you following the law, statutes, commandments. Maybe he was a kinder person, a nicer person, more sympathetic person, right? But what about the Lord, though? What did you do to follow the Lord? Are you keeping his law, statutes, and commandments?
And I knew I had the truth. And I tried every religion under the sun. Nothing worked. But when you call upon the name of Jesus Christ, okay, you didn't have to convince me he's real. So 8 weeks after my saving in Bible college, later seminary, I first started pastoring in Northern California for many years. I took a...
And I would say it makes sense. You would try every religion on earth and it wouldn't work for you because, look, let's talk about it. You're a European, so-called white Caucasian man, which the religion that dominates that racial group is Christianity. So of course ain't no other religion's gonna work for you. It's gonna be the one that dominates your people. You're gonna follow the religion of your people, right? The same way Muslims over there, the whole Muslim world, they would say the same thing. The religion that works for them is Islam, because that's what their people group follow. It's not, oh, I tried everything else and nothing worked, so this is the true one because this one worked for me. No, of course it was going to work for you. You fit in with your people.
Position in New York
Wow.
for many years, and then I've been in Vegas for 14 years, and now today you and I are talking.
Wow. What did your family think? Since it's such a huge difference.
Well, they not only lost it. About a year later, one of my got saved. Absolutely number one, and the reason why they kept me that because not your family, and but that kept me praying. But the other thing, so the point is, don't be put off by people's external visual scientific method to know. How do you know if you witnessed to somebody? And the point is, you don't quit. Really wanted to avoid me.
Yeah.
All right.
And he really, I mean, to write books like.
Yeah, all the above.
Okay.
Some of the people say, how do you know that? Or how can you put that together? Or how do you know about the elite or the cabal, whatever? Because I was involved in it when I was, yeah, all the above.
Do you think it was your background in seeing deception? And maybe were you seeing things in the church that were alarming you because of your own experiences and knowledge of like the New Age and stuff? Where did it stem from?
Yeah, all the above. When I was involved in World Expos, the New Age Expos, their new vision, it's elusivity. And I didn't get it back then because my head's popping off and going like, that really, I come with the insider
straight facts behind it. Just people aren't aware of it.
Mainly Eastern mysticism and religion or religions. And so really the goal is that you get into an altered state of consciousness. It could be through transcendental meditation. It could be through yoga, which by the way means to yoke. And you're yoking with the Hindu deities. Most people don't realize, Rebecca, that there's many different ways to get into an altered state of consciousness. Meditation is just one of them. Believe it or not, yoga is another one.
Right.
And then they want to try to Christianize it, like say the digital meditation. Yoga, many of the poses are snake poses.
Yeah.
And they think.
Okay, he's going into more stuff. But, so you just got to watch out, man. There's a lot of deception coming different ways. The deception isn't coming in just one way. You know, you may think one thing's deception and then may think that this side is the truth. But both sides are deception. They coming at different angles, man. They coming with AI deception. The government, the elite has deception. They got this reptilian deception with beast deception. They got UFOs being demons coming back deception. They got religious deception. It's coming in a lot of different ways. So with that, I'm going to say salvation to the elect.